So there were a number of instances when Donald Trump said things that drive me crazy. Like, how does he say things like this and people still think, oh yeah, this guy's bright enough to be the most powerful man on earth? Let me give you one example.
Now, with that being said, she talks tough against Russia, but our nuclear program has fallen way behind, and they've gone wild with their nuclear program. Not good. Our government shouldn't have allowed that to happen. Russia is new in terms of nuclear. We are old, we're tired, we're exhausted in terms of nuclear. A very bad thing.
We're exhausted in terms of nuclear.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means. I guess he's saying that our nuclear weapons are depleted.
They're old. I think he's saying they're old and we need, Russia's are updated, which I think is not true.
Of course it's not remotely true. We have a gigantic lead on nuclear weapons. Some of them are older because we've been stockpiling for a long, long time. A lot of them are very new, but they're certainly not exhausted because they didn't run laps. Right? And so a little bit later he said, I will give economics to people.
Yeah.
But, so I get frustrated by this because I already saw this movie. George Bush debating Al Gore, and everybody just gives him a pass on being stupid.
Yes.
And at that point, I never voted for a Democrat in my life. And I looked at the debates and I said, no, I'm not going to vote for a guy that dumb. I'm going to vote for Gore, even though I've never voted for a Democrat. I was obviously at that point, I was a liberal Republican. Now that doesn't exist anymore. So it was a little bit more complicated than that. But as I looked at Bush, I was like, the emperor has no clothes. Why are they not saying the guy is patently stupid? And I listened to Trump, and he said, I will give economics to people. Our nuclear is exhausted. The guy's an idiot, right? So for all the things that people have said about Trump, bigoted, dangerous, those are all true. But what doesn't get enough coverage is how dumb he is.
Yeah, well, that's why, right. That's why he's bigoted and dangerous. Those are the people who are bigoted and dangerous, is that they're dumb. And we saw what happens when you let a dumb guy be in charge. And whether it's you want to take a conspiratorial approach and say that he had the presidency sort of stole from him by the Dark Lord Dick Cheney, or whether he made the dumb decisions on his own because he wouldn't listen to anybody. Either way, it was based on a simplistic, easygoing everyman, which is not what we're supposed to have be president.